Where this weekend is all about creating your profitable speaker success and creating your profitable talk, your profitable signature talk. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to engage everybody, get everybody thinking about where you're going to be able to present your signature talk. We're going to work on the what and the how and all that stuff. But we're going to start out. I want to get the juices flowing, and we're going to do a little bit of brainstorming here. So tell me, and everybody just shout it out. Let's start writing down. And you can, at this point, you can take out your sheets. You should all have your sheets in front of you. What we're going to first do is we're going to work on the profitable speaker mindset. And all of the people that I know, I probably know a good 150 entrepreneurs, coaches, and speakers who are, they make a lot of their money speaking. Whether it's in small workshops like this, whether it's like on big stages like we had in June, and we're going to have again in February, and everything in between, whether it's webinars, whether it's telesummits, whatever. And I've had the good fortune to be able to speak and interview over 100 other really successful entrepreneurs. I mean, over 7-figure-a-year type entrepreneurs. And when I ask them, hey, what is your number one secret to your success? Pretty much without fail, I think out of asking 100 people, probably 99 would say mindset. Probably 99 would say mindset. It's having the mindset, the belief to know that I'm a sought-after speaker, to know that my information is valuable, to know that people will pay to get my information, that people will they'll line up to hear this information, and not from an egoic place, but from a place to know that you've got value that people want and people need. The value that my information changes lives. Your information changes lives. It can help improve lives. It can help make the world a better place. And really, it's your duty to get that information out there. That's the way that I look at it. That's the way that I see the most successful speakers look at it is, I have to do this. That's why I'm on this earth, is I need to get this information out so I can make a big difference, make a big impact, and affect the most number of people in a positive way that I can. And one of the most effective ways to do that is through speaking publicly. So we're going to come up with some quick, fast, and easy ways to brainstorm where you're going to make your presentations. So what I want you to do right now, let's shout it out. We're going to brainstorm together. Let's come up with at least 10 places where we can speak. So come and shout it out. Where would you like to speak?
Churches.
Churches and...
Realtor association.
Yeah, associations. I love associations.
Retirement centers.
Okay. Retirement centers. Conferences. Love conferences. What else?
Meetup groups.
Meetups. I love meetups.
You have one, don't you?
I do, as a matter of fact. Yes. What else?
Networking organizations.
Absolutely. Networking organizations. What else?
Chambers of commerce.
Absolutely. Yep. What else?
Other social.
Other events. Other.
Like-minded.
Yep. Events. I probably. This is probably my most common one. I'll speak at 20 other events next year, maybe 24. So that is one of my favorite ones. What else?
Other social, like Rotary and.
Yeah, other
Service
clubs, yeah. What else?
Expos?
I do expos, so I know for sure I'm going to sponsor at least 6 expos next year, if not more. I love, and I...
What would the next one?
So one of the expos that I'm going to sponsor is called Traffic and Conversion. They call it Traffic and Conversion Summit. It's in San Diego, and it's there'll be like 1,000 marketers there, and it's like 15,000 for a booth, but we usually make much more than that as a result. And so in the expo, you have a booth. There's a big hall with lots of vendors that have booths, and I'm going to be one of those vendors. Exactly. Yeah, what else?
And are you speaking at the event too?
I'm
Or just having
I'm gonna try and speak in a breakout session. Now, that particular event's like $30,000 to speak at a breakout session, so I'm probably gonna do it, but I haven't pulled that trigger yet, so.
Health summits.
Pardon?
Health summits.
Summits, I love summits, yes. And,
Summits.
yeah, and then, so these are all in person. There's a lot of online as well. All right, so like a telesummit. Okay, so there's in-person summits and there's all sorts of summits. There's no shortage of different types of summits, and as niche as you want to go, you could find a summit on pretty much anything. What were you about?
Retreats.
Yeah, retreats. Love sponsoring other people's retreats. Yeah. And you can have your own retreat. Absolutely. You guys have a retreat. Yep. What else? What else? Let's think online for a moment.
You guess in a webinar?
Webinars. Yeah. Webinars. So you can have your own webinar. You can have a joint venture webinar where you're a guest of somebody else. Absolutely. What else? What else could you do online?
There's radio, Blog Talk Radio.
Radio. I love radios. I hosted a talk radio show for 8 years. Love radio. All right. And nowadays, what do you have in place of radio? Podcasts. Right. I love podcasts. And by the way, anybody who hosts a podcast or a radio show, they are always looking for guests. Because when we did our radio show, now we did the radio show 3 days a week. It's hard to fill the radio show. You have to constantly be looking for people to interview. So anybody who has a podcast, if you've got a subject, you could just call, in any subject that you're in, there'll be 100 podcasts on that subject. You go contact the people who host that podcast, and you'll probably get 50 to 80% of them will take you.
What's a good way to approach them?
Yeah.
I call them, email them.
Where do you
Text them.
find them?
I like to stalk them, actually. That's my preferred method of doing it.
Pleasantly persistent.
No, I just stalk them. Yeah.
Just jump out of bushes.
Okay, that's a little too far. Go ahead, Red Kelly.
Where is a good pond to fish for good podcasts?
Yeah, so first off, Google. I like Google anything, and then on iTunes, there's an enormous list of podcasts. There's 200,000 podcasts, and so I guarantee you, there's hundreds of real estate podcasts, no question. And usually, you can find, if you look up who the person is that does the podcast, you can find their website and then get their contact information from that. And they usually have, if it's a podcast that has some visibility, they've usually created an easy way to get in touch with them because they want people to interview. You were gonna ask a question?
So I have spoken on podcast radio, and I didn't have to pay, right? They just
Yep.
asked Lisa, will you come talk on this subject? Fine. But then I had a lady call me who wanted me to pay her to speak on the radio, and that's
Yeah.
common too. I wanted to ask you, is that normal?
Yeah, so when we hosted our talk radio show, we had to pay for the airtime. And it was $300 an hour, and we did it, so it was $900 a week. And this was back 15 plus years ago, so it's kind of expensive. And we would bring on sponsors. So it would be an hour show, and we would sell 15 minutes to a sponsor to interview. Most of the interviews were free, but we did have to pay for it, and so we would have sponsors come on. So we were in the financial business, so we would have a financial attorney or a CPA come on and sponsor and speak on that 15-minute slot. So that's another way to do it. So just, if they're going to have lots of your customers listening,
Yeah, right.
it may be worth it.
Okay.
Okay? That's, so, go
Is
ahead.
there a way to know how big their list is or how many people their fans?
I
or
ask.
anything? Oh, okay. 'cause
Yeah, I ask. I ask. So, like on radios, you really don't know how many people are listening. I mean, they have things like Arbitron rating, but you don't know. I mean, the only thing they know is if they give away free gifts, how big is their email list? That's a good indication. On a podcast, you can look and see how many downloads they get. That's another good indication. Okay. So let's keep going with other online ideas.
I was just gonna say about that though, it feels like that would be a good place to be part of a speaker posse, because somebody out
Totally.
of the blue recommended me to a podcast lady, and she volunteered the size of her list, and was kind of like wooing me, which felt a lot better than me having to stalk her. So, if we have each other to recommend each other.
That's the best. So I've got a whole section dedicated to building your speaker posse. So we'll go into that. We'll call it a team, a profitable speaker team. So we'll go into that, but that's my favorite way to get booked. So you're right on the right track. Let's focus on online places that we could speak.
Oh, I was gonna say targeted businesses like estate planners for me, so that would be Google, that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Sure.
What
Yeah.
about Facebook Live?
Absolutely. Facebook Live. Yep.
Doesn't YouTube have live now also?
They sure do. I
Which
do
haven't
it.
even checked
Yeah,
out.
and so in fact now if you have Webinar Jam, it's now hooked with YouTube Live as opposed to Google Hangouts. It looks very similar. I haven't noticed much difference other than the way you log in, but everything else seems fine. So what others? What other ways can you do this?
Periscope?
Yeah, Periscope, absolutely. So that's the Twitter's version of Facebook Live. Okay, so this is, you've got things like conferences and forums and sessions and symposiums when we're talking about live in person, online. There's no shortage of summits, telesummits, of webinars, other online summits, joint venture. You've got to create your own joint venture webinars, whether it's radio, podcast, any of these things. There is no shortage of places that you can speak. The only limitation is you not reaching out. The only limitation comes from you keeping yourself a secret. And everybody who is putting on one of these meetings is looking for speakers right now. Everybody who's putting on these kinds of programs is looking for partners. They're all looking for speakers. So it's up to you to find them and not keep yourself a secret. So we're going to give you some cool tools. Again, this one's my favorite one, but we're going to give you lots of cool tools on how to do it. Go ahead, Lynn.
But can you or will you give us some direction as far as if you're invited to speak at a conference or approach, let's say, but they want you to pay, and sometimes it's crazy money. How does a person weigh if you don't know the team, whether it's anything or
we can go into a lot more detail on that, but I'll just give you off the top. When I look at sponsoring events, so to fill my February event, I'm going to speak at 10 events. I think I've spoken at 5 of them so far. I'm going to speak at 10 events. And you just have to know what is your goal, what is your criteria, and what are you going to get out of it. So for us, I will only speak at an event if I'm allowed to sell something. So I have to be on stage and I have to sell something. So I'm not just going to, attend the event for networking purposes. Now I did that for years and it worked fine, but now my business is at a level where I'm going to be speaking from stage. We sell tickets to our live event, whether it's $200 for a regular ticket or $500 for a VIP ticket. I know if I go to an event, depending on the size, we can usually convert anywhere from 10 to 20% of the room. So I know if I spend $5,000, I'm going to need to sell, $5,000 worth of tickets to make it worthwhile. I need to move, 20 or 25 tickets. So if the room has 150 people, I will probably be able to do that. So it's really some simple, that's like back of the envelope math.
Right.
There are plenty of events though where I've paid nothing to speak. And those are usually like, chamber meetings, small, associations. There's lots of those, and sometimes those have been some great results. We spoke for free and moved 18 tickets at a free event. I mean, that's awesome. So I think the most important thing is who's the audience, and then the person that is going to, the promoter, the person that's putting on the event. What do they want from you? Okay, and we're actually going to get into that in this weekend. Does that help?
Yeah, just one more thing, a clarification, you just said something that's key to me. So when you're speaking on stage, the whole point is to either fill an event, get the exposure, it's hardly ever a moneymaker at this level. The whole gig is to push people, get the exposure and attract people to you down the road.
Again, my purpose right now for speaking on stages is to move tickets to an event.
Right.
But I have, the rest of the year, my purpose being on stages is usually to generate leads or to sell an information product. So if I'm going to sell, I'm going to speak on my friend Evan Pagan's stage and I'm going to sell a $2,000 information product, then that is my goal, is to sell as much of that. And usually, in that case, I'm going to pay him 50% of whatever we collect. So he's incentivized for me to sell as much as possible. So that's a joint venture way of paying to speak on a stage. And the nice thing about that is you don't have to come out of pocket. The bad thing about that is if you do really well, it's actually a lot more expensive. So it's a little teeter-totter, but that's okay. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. The most important thing is just know what are you trying to accomplish. All right. So does somebody else have a question? So go ahead, Rick Kelly.
Are you looking just to cover your expense or to actually make money?
So in this situation, we make our money at our big 3-day event. So in this situation, I'm looking to cover my expense. That's all.
Okay.
In other situations, I'm looking to make money, like the example I gave you. If I spoke on Evan Pagan's stage in Chicago, we did 30,000 in sales in 45 minutes, and I gave him half of that. So I made $15,000 because I didn't have to pay up front to be on stage. So it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. For you, you're probably going to want to speak and get leads for prospective customers that you're going to want to talk to one-on-one to see if you can list their home or see if you can sign them up in some other way or sell a home for them. So you just have to decide what's most important for you in your business. Okay?
So if you were to say, if you had a choice to pay to speak or to give 50%, 40%, 60% of whatever sales that you're making, where would you go?
Again, the answer depends. The answer totally depends. So I have to look at the factors of who's the audience and is this a qualified audience? So some people, I've paid $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 to be on some people's stage, and it was absolutely worth it. We made a really nice profit because they had 400 qualified people and hungry buyers in the audience. That's totally worth it. But and then there've been other times where we've paid $0 to speak on a stage, and we've given away just a free gift, and we ended up with lots of leads, which then converted into customers later. So the answer depends. It really just depends. Okay, so now let's go, so take out your papers that you have, and so now we're going to go into, and I'm sorry, just out of the list of 10 that you just created, and out of the list of 10 that you just created, circle your top 2 that you are going to pursue in 2017. Circle your top 2. Okay, there's so many here that it's really easy to get lost.
I don't know what a speaker posse is. And
We're not there yet.
Right, but I don't know if I can circle that one yet.
Don't circle
So
it.
I might have 3.
Yeah. Don't circle it because the speaker posse leads you to these other things.
Okay.
So other than that, find what is your top 2. Do you want to get on some telesummits? Do you want to speak at some meetups or conferences or events? What are the top 2? Just circle them, okay? And then you can use that to laser focus your marketing efforts for 2017. Right? Don't try to say, oh, I'm going to do one of each of these. That doesn't work. Because it takes too much time to research. If you're looking for a specific conference, it's going to take time to research those conferences. If you're looking for a specific expo, it's going to take time, or a specific podcast, it's going to take time. So
Do
Nika.
you think associations
Oh.
are only looking for people with a lot of experience and a track record
No, they're looking for, they'll say that, but they're looking for good speakers. They're looking to entertain their audience and they're looking to give their audience value. Samika.
I was just gonna say, shouldn't we just keep in mind too, that some of them have a really long lead time? I mean, because like right now,
Sure, yeah.
conferences is a big thing for me, but I know a lot of the 2017 conferences that I'm looking at already have they're already booked. So I need to be thinking about them for 2018.
Yeah, they definitely have a long lead time. Also, many times conferences for like this far out, they'll say they're booked, but if you really go in and you find the right person, they're not fully booked. Sometimes they are, and you know, maybe if it's a big conference, maybe 3 months out, maybe they will be fully booked. But if you're 6 or 8 plus months out, they're probably not completely booked. Probably not. But yeah, and yeah, so this is why we're planning out the whole 2017 now. Let's start to think about which ones do you want, and then just focus in that one area so that you can make a lot of progress in that one area. Okay? All right. So now we're going to talk about creating your profitable speaker mindset. So as I mentioned, creating the correct mindset is one of the most important things that you can to find the events, to find the people who will lead you to the events, to open the doors and the floodgates to let all that abundance come in and get those, be able to attract those right kind of events and the people that will lead you. So mindset number 1. I have incredibly valuable knowledge or information. So fill in the blank. I have incredibly valuable knowledge or information that needs to be shared with the world. Knowing this, I think, is the cornerstone to attracting all of the right people and places to get yourself booked solid for 2017. Mindset number 2. My audience is hungry for my information. So notice how this is different. It's not just knowing that you're valuable, it's knowing that they want it. They want it, they want you, they need you. Mindset number 3. I will create my signature talk that will position me as the expert in my field, the authority in my field, the guru, the person that knows the answers, person who's got the experience, the one that can lead them through the transformation that they are seeking. Mindset number 4. I will deeply connect with my audience through vulnerability. I will deeply connect with my audience through vulnerability and show my audience that I understand their big problem, pain, fear, frustration. I know I didn't leave you that much room there, but you pick one or more than one and put it in there. You understand if you're through your vulnerability and your story, you can show your audience that you know them and you understand their big fear, frustration. You understand their big problem. They will look to you for the answers, and you can do that through story. If you do it through your story, they will pay attention. They won't stop paying attention. They won't start texting. They won't start doing other things. They will actually listen and pay attention. Number 5, people will listen to your signature talk because they are seeking a solution. Yes. Some people are seeking a solution. Some people are seeking a transformation.
Yeah.
And it depends on your particular situation. Some people want a solution. Some people want a transformation. Usually a solution leads to a transformation. Right?
Yeah.
Okay? And
Sometimes they want relief.
that's a solution.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go away out of it.
Yeah, good. So fill in the blank that is appropriate for you and your clients, customers, and business. Mindset number 6. My talk will show the audience that I can help them solve their big problem or create the transformation that they are seeking. So notice the difference from number 5. 5 is people will listen because they're seeking a transformation. Number 6, your talk is going to show them that you can help them with that transformation. There's a difference, an important difference.
The process.
Yeah, that your unique process, that they can see, oh, if I use that, that's going to help me get this transformation. Mindset number 7. The high value lesson and steps of my talk won't just be easy to understand, they will be impossible to misunderstand. The high value lesson and steps of my talk won't be just easy to understand, they will be impossible to misunderstand. When you're creating your talk, if you use that as your bar, you'll have a much better chance of effectively communicating what it is that you actually want to communicate. And understand, miscommunication happens more often than communication. And if it's really easy to think, oh, everybody knows what I'm talking about, when in fact, some of your most important customers don't. So that's why we focus on trying to be impossible to misunderstand. Okay. Mindset number 8. The high value lesson will sound simple and doable. The high value lesson in your signature talk will sound simple and doable to my audience so they believe they too can have the transformation they are seeking. The high value lesson will sound simple and doable to my audience so they believe they too can have the transformation that they are seeking. So go ahead, Laurie.
What happens when you're working with clients that simple and doable to them is something's wrong? Like
Well,
It's
they're
too
looking for the
easy, too
trouble.
easy, not worth it.
Well, educators will often look at, if it's simple and doable, then maybe it's not research-based enough, it's not heavy
So
enough.
it's important for
not-
you to design your talk to your customers so that it is believable. Okay, so it's believable. So if too
Okay.
simple, is it possible to oversimplify?
Yes.
It is absolutely possible to oversimplify something. So you need to deem what is appropriate for your audience so that it's believable to them. If they say, oh, okay, well it's simple enough, but it's deep enough that it sounds like it's going to work and I can do it. Okay?
Yeah.
It's also it's just as easy to oversimplify as it is to overcomplicate. So it is important for you to fit in that right space. But I'm just going to say, as a default and a general rule, maybe with you as the exception, for almost everybody else, focus on being more simple than overcomplicated. Okay, it's really easy to overwhelm people. If you give them too much,
Right.
they're going to get overwhelmed. They're going to be like, I've checked out. This may be great, but I can't even follow you anymore. Right? That happens
Right.
all the time. I see people do that all the time when they talk, and it usually comes from a good place of like, oh, I want to give more, I want to give more, I want to give more, but you give too much.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, you turn people off because you've overwhelmed them and
I've done that.
overcomplicated. We all have. We all have.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9. The benefits, so similar to the last one, the benefits of my offer won't just be easy to understand, they will also be impossible to misunderstand. So not just the steps of what you do, the benefits of your offer. So if you guys remember your irresistible offer, we focused on the benefits, and the benefits need to be impossible to misunderstand. It's really easy to assume people, like, well, aren't the benefits obvious? No. We make them impossible to misunderstand. Okay, and that's how we form our actual offer at the end. We're talking about the offer of your 6-month program. We talk about the benefits and then ask people to sign up for a one-on-one consultation to learn more about it one-on-one with you. Mindset number 10. Inside your talk. Remember, 90% of what you're selling is the
Destination.
transformation, which is also the destination, and 10% is how to. 90% of what you're selling is the transformation, and the destination is how to. Like my friend Lisa Sasevich says, they're buying the destination, not the plane. So when you're describing the benefits of your offer, the benefits of working with you, of your 6-month coaching program, 90% of that is going to be the destination, only 10% the plane. 90% the transformation that they want, 10%. All right, fantastic. Any questions on
I
that?
would just like to say that this works awesome as affirmations.
Ooh,
So I'm going back
I
to
like
this
that.
every single time.
I like
I
that a
do
lot.
this
That's a good
speech.
idea.
Because it's set up as an affirmation.
That's really good.
You look in the mirror and just.
Can I
say
use
it.
that, Caressa?
Of
I like that
course.
idea.
The daily
Uh,
mantra.
Yeah.
To piggyback off that, affirmation and mindset are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So these are great affirmations, and to get in the mindset of it, if I may add,
Please.
you really have to shift your physiology. You have to get
Mm.
into a physical space of like believing what you're affirming for yourself. That is a mindset shift.
Teach
Love
us.
Well, we'll see if we can create the opportunity. That was great. Thank you for that. And Kirsten, so let's write that down. One thing we want to do is we'll figure out a way to convert mindsets into affirmations that people can use. All right, that was great.
No, affirmations into my.
On the back side of this, now we're going to do a quick little exercise. So 3 questions here. And so question number 1, let me see if I can write this down. Question number 1, when it comes to being a profitable speaker, what mindset has held you back to date? Okay, so when it comes to being a profitable speaker, what mindset has held you back? In the past. And I'm gonna write down the 3 questions. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to answer them. Question number 2, what mindset shift will make the biggest difference for you being a profitable speaker in 2017? And again, I'm going to give you a few minutes to answer all the.
Again, Brett?
I'm writing it down here, but
Yeah, but we can.
question number 2 is mindset. What mindset shift will make the biggest difference in you becoming a profitable speaker in 2017? Question number 3.
The biggest shift or the biggest difference?
What mindset shift will make the biggest difference in you becoming a profitable speaker in 2017? Question number 3 is, what will you do to ensure you implement that shift? Okay, so let's get some answering music let's give everybody 2 minutes, answer these questions, and then I'm going to ask for people to share. Question number 1, what was the mindset that's held you back in the past? What mindset shift will you need to make to become a profitable speaker in 2017? The one that'll make the biggest difference. And number 3, what will you do to ensure, how do you hold yourself accountable? How does someone else hold you accountable to make sure that you do that shift, that you implement that shift? 2 minutes. Let's get some music on. Don't keep yourself a secret. Go ahead, Laura, Lynn.
My
So the questions,
my
1,
number
2,
one,
3.
my
Yeah.
mindset that's been keeping me from doing it is my lack of confidence in my ability,
Oh, okay.
okay, to speak well.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I need to change is I need to become more confident, proving my abilities, showing that I can have success.
Awesome.
And my number 3 is committing to speaking a lot in 2017. Big events, small events, just take it and see what happens.
And awesome. What are you going to do to ensure that you follow through on that commitment?
I'm gonna start booking engagements right now.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
I'm doing it already.
So that's good. So this last piece of the question is critical, because saying I'm just going to do it doesn't work. All right. But for example, that's what we call inevitability thinking. Who remembers inevitability thinking? All right. What is inevitability thinking? It's when you put yourself in a situation where you are forced to do it. For example, putting non-refundable dollars down on a event venue, putting non-refundable dollars down on an event that you're going to sponsor and speak at. You're probably going to speak, right? You're probably not going to waste the money. Okay, so that is one way to that works really well. So good, I like that a lot. That'll work. Who else wants to share? Go ahead, Sarah.
My challenge or my thought was that I live in a small town
Mindset.
because for bigger events and stuff you would have to go to a bigger city, right? Bigger groups and all that, and I just thought I cannot really do it because it's so much travel expenses to get there and stuff. And then I realized, come on, you can drive 1 hour to. I have 2 cities, one to the north an hour away, one to the south an hour away.
That's not far.
There, you can drive in the evening and go there. And come back. It's like so interesting. Something so simple,
That's a great mindset shift. Yeah. I had a job where I commuted an hour and a half each way every day.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. And I did that too.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Before.
Yeah. So what are you going to do to ensure that you implement this?
I'm going to book myself in those 2 cities.
Okay, good. And so again, booking yourself. So great way to get this external kind of accountability. So, you can put down non-refundable dollars. That's going to be very motivating. You can also, if you book yourself an event and you start, inviting people, now there's an expectation that you're going to show up and deliver. You're probably going to show up. That's a great way to bring the external force that will force yourself and ensure that you get it done. I love it. Excellent. Who else? Who else has a mindset shift share? Go ahead, Janet Grace.
Mine has been that I haven't been effective at selling my programs.
One-on-one or on stage?
On stage.
Oh, okay.
On
Gotcha.
stage.
All right.
So, so that's my holdback or my challenge. And my mindset shift is that I have incredible knowledge and information that needs to be shared with
Yeah,
the
it
world.
sure does.
And then to ensure my success, getting really crystal clear on communicating the benefits, the challenges and the benefits, because sometimes what I'm speaking about is they're not even sure that they're actually challenged by it.
Okay.
So just getting really clear on my message and my benefit.
All
And
right.
booking 2 speaking engagements every month in 2017.
Fantastic. So that's what's going to ensure that you do it. Okay, great. And just that, booking a gig, whether you paid for it or not, that should be motivating enough to actually get you to follow through. What are you going to do to ensure that you book it? Who's going to hold you accountable to that?
One of my accountability partners.
All right, I like it. That's another good benefit of your speaker team. And I'm just going to, instead of using the word speaker posse, I'm going to call it a speaker team. That's another wonderful benefit of your speaker team, is that you can have a good accountability in there. You guys can make little contests, you can support one another and help one another.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave this here. So, good. Anybody else? Yes, go ahead, Caressa.
Yes. So the first one I like, and I'm going to keep to myself. The second one that came to me.
That's okay.
was to get out of, you're welcome to come
Kirsten,
up and talk to me
Can I
about
ask
it.
you to
To get
put
out
that
of
one up? I'm having
perfection
trouble with it.
and embrace love of service.
Get out of perfection, excellent. That's a really important mindset shift. I think one of the things that has held people back almost the most, other than fear of public speaking, I think that's number one. Number two is probably perfectionism. Like, oh, I need to.
You must be psychic, because that was my first
You're building my psychic ability, Caressa. Do you see how valuable it is what you do? It's totally working. You're so good.
We weren't even on the phone.
I know. So what are you going to do to ensure that you implement this new mindset shift?
Get on the phone, laugh out loud, to be able to connect and similar to Asara, the places, where to go, and
So
I
what do
value
you-
my life and so I don't want to waste my time. I really want to go to places
Yeah.
that are the people that are waiting for my
Great.
information.
What are you going to do to ensure that you will do that?
Make some book some engagement.
Okay, so
Yes.
put down some non-refundable
Yes, put the money on the
deposits.
table. Yeah.
That it works.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
yeah.
it works, and you know, like you guys are all paying for this event, so you showed up here. Does it work? It works, absolutely. And so, what are you going to just one more step further? What are you going to do to ensure that you take the step of actually booking? In other words, who's going to hold you accountable to that? Do you have an accountability partner in the group?
I do.
Who's that?
Well, Sarah's one.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So
So can you work together on that to make a commitment and say, all right, next month I'm going to book at least one speaking gig, and then in 2017 I'm going to book at least fill in the blank speaking gigs.
Yes.
Okay, and whatever they may be, whatever works for you. I mean, we have a list of like 20 ideas there, but pick one or two that you're going to focus on, the ones that you think are going to be the best. Sarah.
Quick question about the places to speak. The ones on the left, they imply that you go to. I have taken it. I was raising my finger and it just.
That's a galactic bean. That was more than a psychic.
That's right.
All right, go ahead. I think we're gonna need some. Where did Kirsten go? Oh, she bailed. You're probably right. Okay, go ahead.
So when you look at associations and meetup groups and so forth, do you also recommend just do your own meetup group?
Yeah,
Without
yeah,
your own
and
limitations?
yeah. So again, the difference. It's always great if you can fill your own room. It takes a lot of energy and effort, and it's challenging. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try it.
Okay.
So again, put it in. Pick one or two, circle it, and you say in 2017, all right, I'm gonna have my first, half day or 1 day live event, or maybe it's a couple hour free meetup meeting. And I've done meetup meetings in people's living rooms. They got 30 people in their living room, and I go and speak, on a particular topic and offer tickets to my live event. It works great. But that was somebody else's meetup. Okay, and doing your own meetup, I like meetups a lot, but it takes energy. So if that's one of your things, then do it. Just commit and give it a try. And also you can partner up with other people who you guys have similar customers, and maybe you do different things for similar customers. Get together and fill that meetup. Okay. Yeah, if you do it in somebody's living room, it costs next to nothing to put it on. All right. So and you have somebody bring the hors d'oeuvres, somebody brings the drinks, and you can get a good number of people in somebody's living room like that. We used to do those all the time. Okay. Yes, Sharon.
Can I go?
Yes, please.
Okay. What mindset held me back in the past? Uncertainty about what to speak on and lack of credibility.
Great.
What mindset shift will make the biggest difference? the truth that I have an incredibly valuable knowledge that needs to be shared with the world.
You do.
And what will I do to ensure the implement shift? Start contacting my top 2 places where I can present my signature speech.
Great.
And keep doing it until I've got, my goal is 2 to 3 speaking engagements per month in 2017.
Cool.
And I have 2 accountability partners that I meet with bi-weekly, so
Love it.
that will help me.
Excellent. Great. Okay, let's just do 1 or 2 more, Lynn, and then you'll be the last one. Go ahead, Lynn.
Okay, what is a nagging mindset to me is I still don't believe people take me seriously because I'm funny. I don't act funny right now, I'm not feeling funny. But number 2 is the shift is to realize that that's exactly the uniqueness of my product, and I'm 35 years doing what I've been doing. I've got the chops.
Totally.
I have the skill, and I love moving people forward. And number 3, what I need to do is actually buy that. Actually buy into that and myself. And what's missing from that is doing the one-on-ones and doing the avatars and just doing those and getting accustomed to hearing myself talk about myself. And number 2, we desperately need an accountability partner.
Okay.
Actually, I do. Buzz is so busy working. I need someone to keep me on track and remind me every day that process of doing the one-on-ones, the avatars is going to.
Can you start looking in here
I
to?
was just thinking the same thing, and we did pretty well together at the last.
I can't hear you. Also, I'm deaf.
I would talk to you at the break about
Okay,
us.
awesome.
There you go.
Thank you.
Look at this
No, we have
manifesting that's happening here. This is awesome. Okay, last one.
Thank you for this exercise, because I went back to what has held me in the past, because I didn't speak from stage or speak to anybody. And then I started doing that. The mindset that I had is not knowing how to sell from the stage. I never followed up. I would give my talk and do everything and had the hope that somebody's going to like, oh wow, this was great information.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get a lot of that, but nobody, I haven't said, then call my office and do, I never did that. So the mind shift that I need to make is that I can sell.
Yep.
And what's going to happen is while we're here, create a script that I'm comfortable with and can follow up and make myself do this is not a big problem. I just have to follow up with some requests. In fact, I scheduled a podcast just this morning.
Great. I love it. Awesome. Fantastic. I will, and I am going to mention on what we're going to teach now, until you get good at selling one-on-one, you don't want to try to sell one-to-many. And so I'm just going to preface that what we're going to do here, you're going to sell your program, but what people are actually going to buy in the room is a one-on-one with you where you're going to close them. Okay, so you get pre-sale on the stage, find the ones who are the hot buyers, you get those 1 or 2 or 3 to sign up for you, and then you convert them one-on-one. Okay, until you get good at that one-on-one, don't try to sell from stage. It's a very expensive, tough learning experience.
Well, it's the invitation.
It's the invitation.
That's the thing that I never did, is I didn't invite them to, do.
Good.
When somebody comes
You're going to learn how to
me,
do that.
Yeah, when somebody comes to me, I can generally sell them one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. And you'll find your one-on-one closing ratio will go way up after you speak from stage. If normally you'll have to have 10 calls to close 1 or 2 people, from stage it'll be like 8 closes from 10 people. Okay, it'll go way, way, way up. All right, so good, excellent.